good. But like I said, there's a difference. When the Bible is saying that, you know, when the Bible is saying that, when the Bible is saying that Joseph, all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord, then there you see that, you know, there is, God is still working in the background. He's still working in the background of in Joseph's life. And how do we know this? We see that even when he's sent to prison, what seems to be working against him is actually working for his good. Because in this case, what ends up happening is that when he's sent to prison, it may look like something that is negative, something that is working against him, but everything that is happening is actually working for his good. And I was thinking to myself, you know, there's conflict that is caused as a result of obedience, and there's conflict, or rather, you know, things going bad as a result of our disobedience. So in my view, I think that there are three outcomes that would have taken place in the life of Joseph. Number one scenario is Joseph would, like he did, he obeys God, he's accused of doing something wrong, and is sent to prison, and that is conflicting in its nature. So we don't see his life doesn't seem to have any form of peace. The second scenario that I was thinking of is that Joseph could have consented to Potiphar's wife's request by sleeping with her, and then eventually Potiphar would have discovered what Joseph was doing and would have still ended up in prison. And the third scenario that I was thinking of is that Joseph would have consented again to Potiphar's wife's request, and you know, Potiphar would have never discovered anything that he is doing with the wife. But guess what the consequence is? The highest place that Joseph would have ended at would have been Potiphar's wife and Potiphar's house. He would have been a slave under someone who he was meant to be ruler over. So sometimes our disobedience is actually costing us our royal destiny. So you think that you're settling for what appears to be exciting is not working against you, but it's actually working against you, because he would have never thought that he would have one day he would end up as ruler of the land. But because he was living in obedience with God, everything that seemed like was working for his not for his good, was actually working for his good. The second scenario is, like I said, he would have slept with Potiphar's wife. Potiphar would have discovered and maybe even killed him, because now there's evidence that he's actually sleeping with her. It's not an accusation. Or he would have ended up in prison. But then God would not be supporting, everything. The consequence of him sleeping with Potiphar's wife would not be serving him any good. So it wouldn't be working for his good in the end. So the only way that he was guaranteed that everything that seemed like it was working in opposition was working for his good is when he was living in alignment to God's instruction, to God's obedience, when he was alerting his obedience to God. So there is conflict, and there's conflict that works for our good, and there's conflict that is as a result of our disobedience. And therefore we need to be careful. And also we need to be careful that, the things that we are settling for are not limiting our destiny, as the third scenario which we gave. Joseph would have slept with Potiphar's wife and kept what they were doing as a secret, but he would have never discovered that his highest position or his destiny was to be ruler of the land. He would have just ended as ruler of Potiphar's house. And Potiphar was simply an officer of the army of one of the armies of Pharaoh. So meaning he would have limited himself to be under the rulership of someone that he was meant to be ruler over. So be careful that some of these things that, we are doing are not costing us our destiny. And also that, at the end of the day, and not what we're doing is not working against us, because we could just be doing anything anyhow without us realizing what we are doing to ourselves. I'm just going to take read a few scriptures, and then we'll conclude for today, because I just wanted this to be a start of what we will be looking at in the scriptures today. And I'm going to take a pause for a minute or so and then just come back and we'll continue with what we're doing today.
I hope you can all hear me. Unfortunately, our camera seems to be having some challenges with our setup today. So we'll have to end this live session, but we'll try and record something later on. But we'll continue in for those who are here and just record something that we can post online for those that were able to join us. So we apologize for the disturbed screen because one of our devices is not working as it should. So with that said, appreciate it. We will end our service now.